Let's go out and slay some dragons.
Hi, my name is Wendell Holland.
Hey, my name's Eric Eldridge.
Hi, I'm Kelly Wentworth, and you're watching Survivor Squared.
Survivor Squared.
Survivor Squared.
Survivor Squared.
We have made it. The Survivor 50 premiere happened just last night, and Bailey Buffs and I are here to break down everything that happened in all 3 hours of that episode. I promise this intro won't take 3 hours. I have gotten some comments that my intros take too long. That's okay, folks. We're listening. The Survivor Squared is in the hands of the fans, okay? We're getting right to it, because welcome to Survivor Squared. If this is your first time watching, give us a like, give us a subscribe, help this channel grow. We will be breaking down every single episode of the biggest season in Survivor history. We will have guests every Monday at the start of the week, and we will have me and Bailey Buffs breaking down the episode every Thursday of that week. And again, spoilers here. If you have not seen the premiere, do not watch this episode, which should be titled The Premiere Recap, okay? I'm trying to get ahead of the spoilers here, so none of you get angry if I spoil who went home, who won the journeys, who won the immunities, the Billie Eilish boomerang idol. We're covering all of that on this episode. And as you guys know, if you're fans of the show, if you've been here before, you know I cannot cover this behemoth of a premiere alone. And so I have to bring in my ride or die, my day one alliance, the Cirie to my Ozzy. Please come on in, Miss Bailey Buffs. Bailey, we made it. We did it. We're here.
Oh, we did it
so
all
happy.
3 hours.
All 3 hours.
We did it.
All 3 hours.
I was freaking out all day yesterday.
Yeah, it felt really, let's start right there, Bailey, because I've asked this of Kelly Wentworth, I asked this of Wendell, how the energy around Survivor was really building, and you could feel it online. And again, all day Wednesday, I was sitting there. I had so much crap I had to get through before I could sit down and watch it. But once I got there, man, it felt like the Super Bowl. It really did.
Oh, absolutely. I wore my buff, my Survivor 50 buff, out hiking yesterday, and I had like 4 different people stop me, and they were like, premieres tonight. I was like, I know. And like it's just crazy how universal the show is, and how many people have just been watching for years and years and years, and we finally made it. Like, so few shows make it to season 50, and we did it. Season 50 is here. It is upon us.
26 years on cable television, primetime slot. Like, that is such an accomplishment in itself. And I want to start right there, because I teared up twice at this 3-hour premiere, and the first time was at the very beginning. I thought they knocked that intro, that first 5-minute, 7-minute sequence out of the park. When they start with that big-ass barge coming on with season 50, and then do a little like do time warp back to the beginning, and go through so much of it, Bailey. And listen, I understand I am in I'm coming from a unique perspective. I joined this Survivor train legitimately 47 weeks ago. And every single week, I watched a new season of Survivor, for most of it for the first time. I watched season 48 live, season 49 live, and the 47 other seasons in recap fashion on that terrible Paramount app over and over again. And when I saw that montage of everything that I personally had just experienced, everything that I had gone through, all the different characters, all the different moments, and it had so many of those moments, not only showing the new viewer who some of these season 50 people are that we're about to watch again, but also the history of where we've come from, all the various places we've been. I saw Jeff Probst once again hanging from the side of a helicopter saying, "Welcome to Survivor," as it swoops away. Some wonderful, wonderful memories that brought up so much emotion in me. By the time we started this episode, Bailey, I was grinning from ear to ear. How did it make you feel as someone who has been in Survivor since the beginning?
Tony, I was sobbing. I had a girlfriend over last night, and she was watching it with me. And I literally, like, she's fairly newer to Survivor as well. She's watched the past couple seasons, but she's still a little newer. So we're watching this whole breakdown, and I'm sitting there going, Richard, Russell, Rupert. Like, I'm just saying everyone's names. I'm going, Natalie. Like, I'm literally saying it along with all these clips. I was sitting there with the biggest, fattest grin on my face, because this show has been with me for 25 years. Like, that's most of my entire life. I have been a fan of Survivor. Like, talk about nostalgia. This is it. Like, this show has been so intertwined with my life for so many years that getting to 50 and watching that, just watching those first 8 minutes, like you said, that whole montage, like I just got so overwhelmed. I got so happy for all the people that have gotten to be a part of it. I feel so special to be in the community. I feel like everyone that loves Survivor is so uplifting with each other and the whole community. And it's just, everyone just has love over this common thing. And like, I don't know, just getting to watch it was so special. And to start it out like that, so emotionally driven, I thought just set up for the entire 3 hours of the episode last night.
I don't know. It was like the beginning of a roller coaster. You go up to the very top, and that first thing is the drop that shoots you through the whole entire thing. That was the drop to me. It was the beginning of a wonderful, wonderful ride. I will say, I'm going to jump around here because obviously so much happened in this 3-hour episode. I want to touch on the second part that made me tear up, and that's at the very end. We see during the challenge, and we'll get through all the challenges, the marooning, the journeys, the people voted out. We'll get through all of that. But I do want to start off here at the very end because we sent not only a first person home with a tribal council, but a second person home with a medical evac. And Kyle hurting himself during the challenge, which as you're watching on screen, you see it happen and immediately, like he's limping, something's wrong, Kyle goes down. And then as Jeff comes on later, with that end of the episode, Kyle is sent home because of a legitimately terrible injury. Like, I'm a huge sports guy. Achilles tears are career-threatening for athletes, but legitimately like life-altering if they don't get handled immediately. Like, especially Kyle slept on a beach for the first 12 hours of that injury. I can't imagine how he's feeling at this point. I hope he got the care that he needed there. I just felt so bad for the guy that we have grown to really enjoy since watching season 48. Season 48 was my first season watching this stuff live. Kyle's my first winner. He's a legit good dude off of the island and in real life. Yeah. And to see this happen to him, of all people, was truly, truly deflating. And I'm sad that it happened. I understand why they put it in the premiere, even though it happened after Tribal. But how did you feel watching Kyle get taken away from an all-star season?
I mean, my heart always breaks when there's a medical evacuation.
Yeah.
I just think it just sucks.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way to put it. And I think we talked about this with the seed crate with Jake. We've talked about this in previous seasons. Like, there's just never any upside to it. Obviously, it disrupts the game. It disrupts other players' whole, strategies. But more than that, it's just, you watch this wonderful opportunity just get taken away from someone who is very deserving of it for something that's not really their own fault. It's just kind of living with the environment and things that happen. I mean, we've talked about this before. That's my biggest fear when I get on Survivor, not if, when I get on Survivor. I'm changing my perspective now to manifest it. That's my biggest fear. I'm very accident prone. I'm a klutz. My biggest fear is that I would be medically evacuated. And like, it's just, it sucks. There's no shame around it, obviously. No. Like, everyone as the audience understands and is going to be so supportive. But like, you could just see it on his face when he was lying on his stomach and they were doing the evaluation to him. You could just see him, the wheels turning in his head of like, well, how do I stay? What can I do? And just kind of the realization set in. And it's just, it's heartbreaking. And like you said, Kyle is so deserving of being there. And he's also a massive threat, being one of 3 winners. So to take him out so early from something that's, not even gameplay wise, it's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. Yeah,
let's get into it. We have the tribe split, obviously a winner on each tribe. And let's start right there with Kyle's tribe, because I want to start to get into this game is being played right from the get-go. We're starting to see these alliances form. We see Ozzy and Cirie make a tag team that could cost them later. I thought the 3 hours was long, don't get me wrong, but I do think it gave us a really good insight on how these partnerships are starting to combine and how they're going after who's going to be a threat early, who are they directing early. I have my favorite conversation coming up a little bit later, but let's stick with that Kyle tribe, because Kyle and Genevieve, they really had a close connection almost immediately. Genevieve and Kyle also kind of buddy up to Colby and Stephanie, who have a sort of a tag team effect. Rizo and Colby have a wonderful little relationship building moment where Colby comes out and says, this Rizo kid is effing annoying. Colby swore on screen, he's effing annoying.
I know a lot of 25-year-olds with incredible work ethic. I'm not sure Rizo is one of those 25-year-olds.
And then by the end of it, Colby is Rizzo's dad. And then also Q, who spends the first day away from the tribe, immediately comes in and is buddy-buddy with Kyle. So if they thought Kyle was a threat because he won, they're really using Kyle, at least from what we saw, they're using Kyle as like the connector of all these alliances. And it looked to be a pretty strong start for all of these players. Then as the show goes on, Q loses his vote because he gets it on a journey. Colby loses his vote because he loses to Savannah. And now Kyle is gone. So we saw an alliance get formed and then potentially blown up in the span of 3 hours. So my question to you is not just to recap everything I just said about their episode, but do you think too many things happened in this 3-hour episode of Survivor? As I said, Q lost a vote. Colby lost a vote. There were advantages thrown out. There were idols thrown out. People are fighting for the machetes and flints. And, of course, the Billie Eilish boomerang idol gets handed to Genevieve. All of these things happen. And Colby even says, like, his brain isn't fast enough to keep up with all the ramifications of what's going on in this game. My brain barely is, and I'm just watching it, Bailey. So with all that in just this one tribe, do you think there's a little bit too much survivoring going on?
I don't necessarily think there's too much happening. I just think we got a little unlucky that it all happened to one tribe. I think as viewers, had it been spread out a little bit more, I don't think it would have felt as overwhelming. But like you said, like, Q and Colby just both happened to lose. Yeah. Like, the people on the other tribes, nothing happened to Mike White. He just didn't get to participate, but nothing happened. Yeah. You know, like, poor Mike. He's like, let me go on a journey. Like, bye. And same with, Genevieve. It was really the only one kind of looking for an idol or looking for an advantage. And so, she found one. So it just, I think, all was very isolated to that tribe, which makes it feel a little bit heavier. And also, obviously, puts them in a very precarious situation moving forward. As opposed to if we're looking at the Cirie team, yes, their tribe is not doing well, but Ozzy now has an extra vote and he has this boomerang idol. Like, he's sitting pretty now in my mind in this book. And so I think it's just interesting that it all happened to that one tribe. All of it. And so we'll see how that plays out. But no, I think in retrospect, the idea of it, of all those aspects was well thought out and well positioned. It just happened that it all happened to the Vatu tribe. All of it.
Let's wrap up this tribe because they win the marooning challenge, which I thought was a really, really fun everyone has a role challenge. And I was really interested to see how that I was interested to see all the decisions that were made, people placed in certain ways. Because, for instance, Camilla, being the one to dig in the sand, really put her tribe behind from the get-go. That's not Camilla's strong suit. You had so many potential threats on there when it comes to digging under themselves out of a hole. Like, I wouldn't have put Camilla in that spot. But again, you have the boat thing. You have to take the ropes out of the boat. You have to do the bag around the thing. There were little puzzles in between. Like, there was a lot of different ways you could place people. And obviously, this tribe, Colby's tribe, comes out with the victory early with Q lighting the torch at the end. That gets them a head start. Q then goes to the journey and ends up coming away with more supplies, even though he does lose a vote. And this tribe is seemingly humming. They win their challenge. They're moving forward. They seem to be going good. The one thing, other than this alliance blowing up because nobody has a vote and Kyle goes home, the one thing that I want to talk on is potentially my favorite conversation of the episode is this Aubrey versus Genevieve face-to-face that played out like it was the beginning of a WrestleMania match. I don't understand.
But I'm just trying to suss out what kind of game you're actually trying to play. Yes. Like, I just don't know.
Because we were just suddenly struck by intense action. Like, these two, we were going buddy buddy. Oh my God, Stephanie, love you. I used to watch you on this season. This is so much fun. And then suddenly Aubrey's there going, I don't know if I know what your game is. And Genevieve's looking back at her and they're just staring daggers at each other. Bailey, oh boy, was I ready for this one. What do you think's going to happen with the Aubrey Genevieve fight? Do you think these are two sides of the coin here? Do you think this is going to be the feud of that tribe?
I unfortunately feel like that might be the feud, but my first thought was, no, Aubrey's supposed to stay the whole time. Everyone thinks Aubrey's lasting the longest. This can't happen this quickly because Genevieve clearly has the numbers already on that tribe.
Well, does
so
she?
I was like, no, I don't know. Now that
All the
Kyle's
votes
gone,
are
I don't
gone.
know.
All the votes are
And
gone.
all the votes are gone.
Her whole side doesn't have votes.
It's so random, but
Yeah.
I would love to touch on this because I thought that this was such a great example, specifically the Genevieve Aubrey and also the Genevieve Kyle. I think it had to do with a lot of what Wendell said in your interview with him, that there were a lot of pre-show alliances coming on to the filming of season 50. And I think the Genevieve Aubrey thing had to play into that because nothing else happened for them to have that much just bad blood between them, like nothing that we saw. So that has to be previous to the island. Or they didn't show us something that was said. I don't know. I mean, I immediately was like, oh, rare, we are off. Like, okay.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'd be curious to see. I wouldn't pit those two against each other just thinking about it. So seeing them have that standoff was very interesting. I'm curious to see where that will go.
Let's jump to the next tribe that also had a big feud. It's the next tribe that also had someone get sent home. It's the tribe that we both thought was going to kind of run away with these early challenges, and I do believe we kind of messed up our analytical review of how that's going down. Ozzy and Cirie come on, and we talked about in our power rankings, they had played together before, they had come at each other before, and now they're drawn together immediately. And we also have talked about, I think it was Eric Eldridge came on and talked about how Ozzy played so many times and hasn't changed anything. Does that mean, is he can we consider him a good player? He comes on immediately, and the whole real middle hour of this episode is how Ozzy's coming on as a changed player. He knows he has to be better socially. He knows he has to try to connect with people and form relationships and think strategically. And to do that, Ozzy decides, who's the best person I could tag team that? Well, he's right. It's Cirie. And Cirie and him now become this tag team. The only problem is, Bailey, it immediately draws the eyes of everyone else on the island. Devin and Christian Hubicki have a couple of moments where they're now a tag team. Joe and Savannah, which is something that I can't believe I didn't think of. Like, of course, those two are going to want to work well together, and they become a tag team. Like, it starts to look like a couple of these players are looking at Cirie and Ozzy. And, of course, Emily's drawn into Devin's and Christian. The person who loses out on this, though, because they lose the challenge and they have to go to tribal, is season 1 Borneo's own Jenna. She becomes the first person to be voted out in a 7-1 split. Everyone but her voted for her to send Jenna home because Jenna came on this island immediately wanting to play and immediately throwing names out there. Now, do you believe this was? Do you believe Jenna's gameplay was buffoonery, or do you believe she just got the short end of the stick coming after the wrong person at the wrong time?
No, I think we see this all the time. And I mean, I will say this till the ends of the freaking earth. Why are we playing so hard on day one? Like, why are you the one throwing out names and throwing out a huge person's name? Like, I get it. You have to start. I understand
Survivor.
that. I get that, but look what happened.
Hold on, let me cut you off before you keep going. We had it on the 3 other tribes, or the 2 other tribes. They're throwing Aubrey's name out almost immediately, and in the other tribe, they're throwing D's name out, and all of them are like, we need to get D out. So like, names are being thrown, and Jenna gets the short end of the stick because she's thrown out a name, and everyone's like, no. But
okay,
sorry,
but to be fair, To be fair, though, I think when it comes to the D thing, you could even sense the moment between Chrissy and Jonathan, where Jonathan's going D, right, and Chrissy's like, sure, yeah. Like I don't buy it. I just don't think we saw it as much because that's not where the drama was. That wasn't a losing tribe.
Yeah.
So I think there is going to be backlash for people like Jonathan who are throwing out names immediately, especially someone like D who can really manipulate a situation, who is such a social player. Jenna coming out guns a-blazing against Cirie, just really when nothing had happened yet. If she had just bit her tongue and waited till after the challenge and then went, Cirie, right? Because Cirie lost them that final challenge. She lost them that immunity and reward challenge. So if Jenna had just waited a little bit for the opportunity to go her because XYZ, then I think that she would have been taken more seriously, and I think she could have recruited more numbers. But because it happened before, that was everyone going, well, Jenna's playing balls to the walls. Now she's the threat. And no one really knows Jenna. And Jenna was also really featured in that whole beginning first 10 minutes of she had 72 million people watching her play. You know, like
the cover of Time
crazy.
magazine, Bailey.
The cover of Time that's crazy.
Yeah.
And so for you to also be the one that is the first person coming guns a-blazing with a name in your mouth and a very big player name in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand why the target immediately went on to her. So I don't think it was the short end of the stick. I just think it was she was trying to play too hard too fast. And she wasn't wrong with who she had as the target. She just was wrong in the way she went about it, I think.
No, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Let's break down this tribe, though, because now moving forward, it seems to be Ozzy and Cirie are on the outs, and the 5 people that are left are sort of forming a mini alliance to make sure Ozzy and Cirie stay on the outs. But as you said, Ozzy, due to all of his actions this episode, has a few weapons in his utility belt. He has a few batarangs to throw out there, including an extra vote, which I think Ozzy immediately... That old Ozzy wouldn't have made the decision he makes on the journey, where Q and him are looking at each other and saying, one of us gets the supplies, the other one gets an extra vote. Ozzy would have been supply man all day. I am the provider. I'm going to go fishing. I need the machete. This Ozzy's like, no, I want the advantage. I want to play Survivor. And he comes away with an extra vote. And then he gets the idol from Genevieve in the Billie Eilish Boomerang idol, which we'll talk about in a second. But he gets immunity idol now, so he has some tools to play with. Cirie also is one of the smartest players to ever play this game. Yes, there might be a 5-person alliance on the other side, but she knows where the cracks might be in that, and she knows who to whisper into their ears. Come over to the dark side. Come play with me and Ozzy. So I'm extremely interested to see how this play out. Ozzy, though... Ozzy and another player were seemingly the stars of this 3-hour premiere. We focused the most on these 2 people. So how did you feel about the 5th version of Ozzy?
I'm so glad you brought this up because that was something that I wanted to say. I thought that moment with him and Q where we had the aside, we had the confessional of him being like, I'm going to play this differently and I'm going to really negotiate and I'm going to do the thing that's best for my gameplay. We haven't seen him do that in past 4 versions of Ozzy. So that did get me excited to see that, okay, maybe we are going to get totally different gameplay from him. Maybe he really is going to come in as more of a strategic player. That challenge was it gave me the ick. If I was dating Ozzy, I would have gotten the ick after that, after just seeing him like throw it over and over so many times and then his back is going out and I'm like, ow, my back. And then also to be like, Ozzy, no one else is trying. Why are you doing all the work? Stop. Make them do something. They're literally sitting there watching you, bro. Like, stop. You don't need to be the one that wins all the time. Literally, it's not working. Mm-hmm. So make Coach and make Q attempt to get that freaking ring. Mm-hmm. So that pissed me off a little bit. But I am very curious to see strategically what he does. And I also think Ozzy and Cirie have a really beautiful opportunity right now to potentially go after Savannah. Everyone knew Savannah was lying, that she did get an advantage. Rick Devens was the first one to say it. Yeah. So I do think if they can really successfully switch the eyesight over to Savannah as the bigger threat, and again, fear of the unknown, they still might be sitting pretty. Yeah. And I think that would be the smart move on their end. I think that'll mostly be spearheaded by Cirie, but if Ozzy can somehow spearhead that too, I think that would be really great for his game and really great to see the change of a player in him.
Now let's touch on Savannah before we move on, because again, we're saving the best for last. I have so much to talk about Coach stealing that key, but let's touch on Savannah for a second. Because she also has a couple of moves made in this show where she comes on, and the first thing that I noticed is she has a little bit of an awkward interaction with the tribe because they're trying to find out what happened on season 49. They don't know what happened, and she goes, "Do you want to guess?"
Does anyone have any guesses about how I did?
And silence hits the tribe, and then she goes, well, I won. And they all give her a golf clap. So immediately, that's a threat. Obviously, she's going to be looked at as a threat and unknown. When she goes on that journey against and plays against Colby in a weird stacking challenge, I don't know what the benefit was of that build of a challenge, but comes away with what I thought, when Colby and her first start this, and they're like, the winner gets nothing, the loser gets to lose their vote. I'm sitting there, I literally wrote down, like, why the F are we doing this? This is so stupid. And who am I? I'm the idiot. I'm just watching TV. This is why I don't get paid by Survivor, because afterwards a boat lands and no one knows that Savannah's getting an advantage. Obviously, Devon's, as you said, rightfully so, is like, she has an advantage. But them not telling Colby, I thought was a really fun switch here. And her getting not just a block a vote, but a secret block a vote, meaning you don't have to announce it at tribal. You can just like tell Jeff beforehand a vote has been blocked. No one knows who blocks it. No one knows how it got blocked. Like, I think that's a lot of fun. And in the hands of Savannah, whoo boy, that could be a tool, because that girl knows how to use advantages and things very strategically. I love this tribe so much, not because of the preseason, these are some of my favorites going in here, but also the fact that Ozzy and Cirie are now together, the fact that Ozzy has all these advantages, the fact that Savannah has this tool but is also a huge threat, the fact that Christian, Devons, and Emily are going to be working together, a very intelligent trio, and the fact that Joe is still there trying to play Joe's game and seemingly the leader of this tribe already. I'm so interested to see how this all works itself out. Anything more on this particular tribe of 8, now turn to 7 before we move on to the final tribe here?
I just have to shout out how much I love Christian in that moment where Christian basically is the one that's like, hey, listen, I know we all are going to have to talk about this, but let's clean up this dirt first, don't you know? Shall we, folks? Like, just the way he presented it is so... He's just so silly and endearing, and I just love him. He's such a character.
I will also say thank you for bringing it up. Him starting a fire with his glasses, and then him talking about how he just had a son, and his son's going to be able to watch this one day. I may have teared up a third time. Don't tell anybody. Let's move on to that third tribe, though. This is the tribe with Jonathan, with Dee, with a lot of fun players, but most importantly with Coach, who immediately becomes the star of this season. Coach 4.0. He says it on here. He's going to be ruthless. He's also going to play with honor. He's also going to play devious. He's also going to play like the good angel. He's also going to play like the bad angel. Coach coming on and saying, I'm a grown man. I've forgiven Ozzy for what he's done to me on South Pacific, which, by the way, you did that to yourself, Coach, but we don't need to pick hairs about season 23. Coach coming on and saying, I'm a changed man, and then immediately reverting back to Coach.
I was a horrible loser. I think it's more on me than you.
He's my favorite player for a reason, Bailey. I love him so much.
I know you do. And he literally brought up Dragon Slayer within the first 10 minutes. I was timing it. I was like, how long till Coach brings up that he's the Dragon Slayer? 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It was brought up. And God, I don't know. He is such a freaking character, man. To watch the wheels spin in his brain, like the whole thing of him stealing the key from Ozzy, and then Mike White kind of calling him out for it in front of his whole tribe, and Coach just being like,
"Yep, not knowing what to do."
Like that was just the whole moment. His moment was just, I hate that man. And also,
he's the best.
I'm sorry, I just have to say it. When did Mike White get ripped? We have to just say it. We don't need to talk about it any further. It's just crazy. Back to Coach.
Yep. Coach is such a character. He's also such a true, like, that's who he is. Like, he's not putting on a show, which we've discussed that many a time. And to see this version of Coach, the Coach that wanted to come back and play Survivor again, that wanted to have another chance to set his mark here, and he fully comes out guns a-blazing. He says at the beginning, like, you know, we're not playing with any regrets. Like, this is all of us going for it, no matter what we get first voted out or we last the whole entire time. And then immediately thrust into this journey situation where it's going to be Coach versus Ozzy versus Q. And that's the thing. Him stealing the key is probably the one mark of this whole entire episode that we're going to take from, like, Ozzy doing all that work, as you said, trying to for how smart Ozzy came into playing this game. This was the old Ozzy showing up and him trying to get that key. But what's the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over again, even though it doesn't work out. And then coach is sitting there going like, well, I'm not going to say whoever gets it gets it. I'm not going to agree to anything. I'm just going to sit here, bide my time. And then as he's stealing it from him, go, sorry, dude. Like, I thought it was so goddamn funny. And then coach coming back, immediately wanting to work with Jonathan, the biggest guy in the group. He wants that guy by his side and immediately trying to buddy up with other people, becoming the jokester of the group. I think Charlie says to the screen, like, who needs, we don't need television. Like, we're entertained. We have coach on the team. He has a toe ring. Like, he's talking about all these different things and just having so much fun with coach. And I'm so excited to see how this all works out with all these really big personalities on this one tribe. And I'm very excited to see it all combine and go forward. I will say, though, Chrissy, being the only woman on this team from the old era, and she's also one of the older players in the game, immediately starts to try and grab a few people like Coach and her try to tag team immediately, and it reminded me of Coach and Jerry a little bit. She starts to get Jonathan, who says, I want to play with the older era players, and they start looking at Dee, who is a former winner, who on screen, and maybe she told it to someone and they caught the conversation, said one of the most dominant winners or the most dominant winner of the new era. I don't know if I agree with that. I have her very high. But them looking at Dee, who is definitely a threat and could be the one that they pick off, was a surprise to me because I thought they would try to keep Dee around in order to use her physically because she's physically amazing at some of these things. So was that a surprise to you that all the eyes were sort of turning on Dee and that Jonathan was making sort of an old era alliance with Jonathan? Or do you think this is a red herring? Like this is not actually how it's working out?
I don't think it's a red herring. I just think it shows how poor Jonathan's strategic play is. Because in my brain, I think Dee, she is such a threat to begin with. She's not going to make it to the end type of thing. Like she is always going to have a threat on her back because she's such a dominant winner. But again, you're so in the beginning stages, let her help you. Let her help you. It was such to me, it was a very juvenile and lazy first person to be like, Dee, let's go after Dee. Like, I think Tiffany is actually going to be a bigger threat. I think Charlie is a bigger threat. Like, I think Camilla is a bigger threat than Dee is. I think Dee is just in your face. So it seems like the very obvious choice to go after Dee. That being said, of course Dee is a threat. So I get it. But it just felt like Jonathan trying to play the game and show that he's more than just the hunky guy that wins challenges. I have strategy too, and I'm going to make things happen. But it kind of just went for the obvious choice, which negates that in my book. I'm like, okay, I don't think that you're being a great strategist because you're choosing the obvious choice.
No, I'm interested that you see it that way because I saw it as Jonathan, like Ozzy, coming into this going, I need to play a little bit differently. Here's parts of my game that I need to upgrade in order to succeed in this game. And I thought Jonathan was doing that because, listen, if I'm Jonathan, I am clearly the target. Like, I am clearly a behemoth amongst regular-sized human beings. I am a challenge beast. Eventually, the eyes are going to come on me. How do I survive in this game? And I do think the only way you can survive is with those older era players that play with honor, that play with integrity, that play with people who will say, like, that's my alliance with a final five no matter what. And Coach and Chrissy might not be those people. They might backstab him in the end, but he's only dealing with the tribe that he's dealt with. He has to buddy up with the older people and come after the newer people. And Dee is the surprising one to me. I thought him and Dee would kind of tag team this thing because they're both such physical threats. So I'm kind of surprised that Dee is the one that he wants to take down early. And then Camilla, Tiffany, and Dee kind of forming a trio there. That would be a blast to watch if those three have a little bit of a run because they're so varying and different, but also so really good strategically that I think they would have a lot of fun working together. So I hope it works out. Bailey, before we move on, I didn't prep you this beforehand, but I did want to do this because I have a couple of things I want to go through that we didn't really touch on in depth here. But before we get there, who do you think won this episode of Survivor?
I don't like this answer. I don't like what I'm about to say, but I do think it was Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate it, but it was Coach.
Absolutely.
Personally, who did I just enjoy the most? Christian, hands down. I love that man. I could watch an entire spinoff TV series on him. Do the Big Bang Theory, but like as a reality show on Christian's life. But in terms of who actually won the episode, it was Coach.
No, I agree with you. And then who do you think
Yeah.
lost the episode? Obviously, Jenna and Kyle are no longer playing, but who do you think lost the episode?
Honestly, probably Cirie. She was not highlighted in a good light. I mean, I love Cirie. We know challenges aren't her thing, and I get that, but it was hard to watch her trying to rope, would throw the rope through I forget what it's called, the T-string thing.
Yeah.
But it was rough. And then to see her so defeated in her confessionals, she'll bounce back. It's Cirie. But to see her so defeated and to know, like, it was her fault that they lost. So I do think, and I don't even think she did that much gameplay in trying to get her to stay. I think it just kind of worked out for her, in all honesty. I don't think she fought super hard for herself to stay. I just think Jenna posed herself as a bigger threat. So unfortunately, I love her to death, but I'd say Cirie probably lost it for me.
The thing that makes me not want to pick Cirie is that Cirie did find a ride or die in Ozzy, and sometimes that alone can help you kind of get farther in the game. There's only one person that lost their ride or die in this opening season, made the connection and lost it immediately. The loser of this episode to me was Genevieve. And we started off talking about that tribe, how they all made a really good connection, and now they're down 3 votes, I think. And also Genevieve's advantage that she found isn't hers. She had to send it away only for it to hopefully return to her. So, and she has one of the best strategic players in Aubrey seemingly at her throat at the beginning. Like Genevieve, I think, as much as I enjoyed watching her season, I think she's coming into here and got dealt a rough hand through no fault of her own. Just the way it all played out, she's in trouble early. So, yeah, I think Genevieve kind of lost this episode. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We will be making a prediction of who goes home next. But before we get there, Bailey, I want to play a little game with you. Because, again, this is a 3-hour premiere. We don't have 3 hours to break this whole thing down. So I just want to play a little quick hitting. See if you agree or disagree with some of the statements that I'm going to make, declarative statements from this premiere. And all I want out of you is whether you agree or disagree and maybe a little reasoning why. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay, absolutely.
Okay, Bailey. Agree or disagree that Dad Colby is the best Colby?
Agreed.
It was so heartwarming.
Agreed.
It was so
I loved that
heartwarming.
moment. It was so sweet. Rizzo tearing up, being like, "Dad." It was so, and to see Colby just make that 180 and be like, "Yeah, I like this kid. He can stay." So tender. Loved it.
I also love the moment between him and Genevieve. Hey, just so you know, my right ear is good. Just don't talk to my left ear. Like, well, I think that was with Genevieve. That was so cute. I'm like, Colby,
So
my guy.
I love him. He's getting soft on us.
Okay. Not so fun. Next one. Agree or disagree? Watching Stephanie is different now.
Oh, entirely agree. I'm so glad you brought that up because I wrote that in my notes, actually. I was like, I was really looking forward to watching Stephanie play. And then because of the, social media antics, if you will, of the past week, I am watching her with a different light. I found myself just innately rooting against her and almost being protective over Colby and not wanting her and him to be like tight. I almost wanted to be like, "No, Colby, run. She's bad news." Oh, yeah. Fortunately agreed.
It is definitely hitting a little bit different, and I don't think Survivor expected this because, I mean, how could they? But because she's very much featured in this episode as not just a returning legend, but a hero. And there's one shot in particular that kind of, when I noticed, I'm watching this differently. Rizzo's saying how he's so excited to be here, but not just be here, but playing with legends. And they cut to Stephanie sitting there on a log, and I'm like, oh no, yeah, they're gonna play her up as the avenging hero coming back to win her season and finally leave her mark and plant her flag. And listen, she very well could do it with the early alliance that she's a part of, joining with Colby, Q, no longer Kyle, but Genevieve, maybe Rizo. Like, there's a very chance Stephanie could go far in this game because of the steps she made early in this game. And it could be, not to bring in another show here, kind of similar to how Colton on Traitors is, where we're watching Traitors and Colton is portrayed as this, achieving, uber faithful good guy, and we kind of all on the outside are going, we don't want to watch this dude anymore. So Stephanie is hitting a little bit different. Bailey, a little bit more of a lighter, agree or disagree. Agree or disagree, ripped Mike White is AI generated.
How dare you take that away from him? He worked hard for those abs. I disagree. He has White Lotus money. He can afford a personal trainer and a nutritionist now.
I was going to say, there's a popular phrase in Los Angeles for, if you want to call us coastal elites, that's fine. But the middle America can learn this phrase. Nobody's hot. They're just rich. And I think Mike White embodies that perfectly. Next one, Bailey. Agree or disagree, the fans' vote was BS. Because not only do we have to fight for rice, we have to fight for supplies. Savannah comes out and gets a thing saying, oh, we actually voted dynamic changes are going to be the best changes. Like, do you think this whole, apparently fire making is back and voted in as a Final Four tiebreaker. Do you think that this fans vote thing was just a ruse, just a ploy, and they're just playing it the way they want it? Or is this what the fans wanted?
Oh, no, I think it is what the fans wanted. Mm-hmm. I believe that they voted for this. Mm-hmm. I just think it's so gimmicky, and I get it. Like, the show would be nothing without the fans to make the fans feel like they're involved. I totally get it. I understand the branding and the marketing of it. But it's so dumb.
Yeah, some parts of it that are dumb.
Stupid.
Speaking of, this next agree to disagree is a two-parter, Bailey. First part is the Billie Eilish Boomerang a stupid name?
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
Agree. Second part of the question, is the Billie Eilish Boomerang actually a pretty good game mechanic?
I was going to bring this up earlier that I was like, I kind of like this idea. I hate the name. It could just be called the Boomerang Idol. We don't need to tag on Billie Eilish's name. Again, I get it. Gimmicky, whatever. We're trying to take the younger
we love Billie Eilish. This is no shade against Billie Eilish. Yeah.
Love Billie Eilish. She's incredible. And I love that she loves Survivor. I love that me and Billie Eilish have the same favorite TV show. But no, I like the actual idol. I think it's so dumb, the names. Or even Savannah's opening hers, and the first thing is, shh. And she says it out like you have to read it. It's like, okay, my Lord.
I do
like the actual idol.
Yeah, the idea of the Boomerang Idol. I really like it when you find something on Survivor and you're forced to give it to someone else, whether it's good or bad, because that, to me, brings another level of gameplay to it. And also the idea, again, Survivor's going to keep changing things and keep adding new wrinkles to the game, and I think this is a really intelligent wrinkle. You have to give this idol to someone else, and it's an immunity idol. There's no frills attached to it other than you can't play it for someone else. Like, this is a full-bore immunity idol, the most powerful thing you can have in this game. And not only do you give it to someone else and maybe form a partnership there, but the chance that, hey, if that guy gets sent home with the idol, it comes back to me and no one knows about it, great. Great idea. I think,
and a lot of strategy.
Yes,
a lot of strategy goes into that. Of who do you send this to? Who do you think is going to get eliminated quickly? And so I think there's just an added layer of strategy and gameplay that Genevieve had to do. So, I love the idea. I like the new twist of it.
And the last agree or disagree, and to wrap up sort of this this episode here as we wrap up the premiere of season 50, is 3 hours too long for a premiere, or was it just right?
You know, Tony, I want as much Survivor always, but like, there's a reason I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet. Like, I can't. Like, my ADHD can't. And if I'm being totally honest with you, I didn't watch the final hour last night. I watched it this morning. I had to do it in 2 sittings. I had to. It's my favorite show in the entire world, but after 2 hours, I was like, I'm done.
I'm so happy I didn't text you.
For a little bit and turn my brain off.
I'm so happy I didn't text you last night.
A couple people did. Don't worry, but thankfully they didn't give anything away. They just said, oof.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a long one. It was a long one. It was also oddly formatted where we have Jenna being sent home at the end of the second hour and we still have an hour of television. I understand why they formatted it that way. We talked about that at the start with Kyle going home and how they had to fit that in, but man, it was a lot, man. There was a lot, and we got a piece of every one of the 24 contestants. So they filled it up well. It's just a lot to sit through, dude. And that last hour was a lot of commercials because that first hour wasn't really any commercials, and they saved them all for hour 3. But hey, well, who are we to complain? Survivor 50 premiered. It was wonderful. We had a blast. Again, Survivor Squared is going to be here for every single episode moving forward, as well as guests coming on in the beginning of the week from Survivor to talk about not only their experience, but how they are loving 50 and what they predict to happen. This is a show that breaks down Survivor and treats it like it's the 5th major sport. So if you enjoy that, give us a like, give us a subscribe, help this channel grow. Tony Squares, Bailey buffs. Before we leave, Bailey, we have to predict who goes home next episode in Survivor Season 50.
You know what? I'm going to go with Genevieve. I am going to go with Genevieve because I think she was ranked really high in our power ratings because, again, just going from edits and things, I don't think she's lasting long. And I do think all the events of this past episode have really screwed up the trajectory of her game and all of the seeds that were planted for her in this first episode. So that's going to be my guess.
Damn, that would be tough. I was going to say Genevieve just to be different from you. I do think there's a chance that Joe tribe keeps losing, and I don't think it's Ozzy and Cirie that gets broken up. I think the tide turns on our girl, Savannah, and she's the next person to go home. But that is it for Survivor Squared. Survivor Squared. Tony Squares, Bailey buffs. We'll be back next week. On Monday, we have Brandon Donlin from Season 45 coming on to break down. He has 2 friends, 2 tribe mates on Season 50, and we get to break it down with him. Everything that's going on. It's a wild ride. We're happy you're joining us, and we'll see you next week.